Joe, the hunting gear guy again. Today I wanted to compare two really popular 22 offerings out here. This is the Marlin 795 and this is an upgraded Ruger 1022. These are really popular semi-automatic 22 rim fires, and other than the Remington 597, these are the two that you'll be looking for. So it pretty much is out there, the Remington 597, the Ruger 1022, and the Marlin 795. I wonder if I can pull this one up and then get all these things in view. Oh, I can, there we go. And just before I get into this too far, keep in mind this review isn't going to be fair. The reason why it's not going to be fair is this Ruger 1022 has been heavily upgraded and this Marlin 795 hasn't been upgraded at all. And that does partly reflect what you're going to be able to do with these rifles. So there's simply more parts and more available for the Ruger than there is for the Marlin. The Ruger is far more popular, a little bit more expensive, and some of the parts that you get for a Ruger you don't necessarily need for a Marlin, so it's not a direct crossover. So I'm just going to go through a quick hit list on these two rifles. First, the Marlin comes with a somewhat of a heavy barrel. Just going to pop it over to the side here and pop the Ruger over there as well. This Ruger has a smaller, skinnier barrel. This one isn't as long as the Marlin's either. The Marlin's got a little bit more length to it, but that's neither here nor there. So we do have a little bit heavier of a barrel. In terms of barrel options, with the Marlin, this is it. With the Ruger, you've got all the choices in the world. You can go with a regular steel one like this. You can go with an upgraded one, fluted one, carbon fiber wrapped. There's just a buttload of them out there for the Ruger, whereas with the Marlin, not so much. In terms of magazines, here, you know, the nice thing about this Ruger is that it does have a flush mounting one. I'll just pull it out here. They've got their flush mount rotary magazine. It's a little bit thick, as you can see here from the back, but it does hold 10 rounds without jutting out from the bottom of the action. Whereas with the Marlin, that magazine does jut out, and it does jut out pretty much where the center of balance of this rifle is. So when you're carrying it with just one hand, you'll feel that you're always running across the magazine. But the advantage being is that it is quite a bit skinnier, so it allows for a skinnier stock than the Ruger typically has. This is one thing that they've done with the T-bolt, the Browning T-bolt, to try to get a thinner stock, is to run with a thinner mag. Availability for mags on both of these rifles is pretty good. There'll be a slight nod to the Ruger in terms of the quantity of high cap mags that they've got for it, but the Marlin has some good ones, that Pro Mag and several other makers out there as well. And there's nothing wrong with these 10-shot clips, and they're only about 13 bucks, so you're not really breaking the bank to get them. Just in terms of operating on these both these rifles, the Marlin uses, let me just see if I can zoom in on it a little bit more here. The Marlin uses a bolt catch that's here. You can see that right now it's open. There's no ammunition in there. Magazine's empty. And if you push down on that, that sends the bolt forward. Nothing really wrong with that. The advantage here, I would say the big advantage with the Marlin is that it has that last shot bolt hold open. So on the last shot, you're not going to be stuck taking careful aim and shooting at something when the bolt's not going to go off. Whereas with the Ruger, there is no bolt hold open and there is no bolt release, so you can be on the last shot. Again, we're empty there, and you'll just get the click of a trigger, so you won't hear anything, you won't make your shot. Instead you'll just kind of pull the trigger and not get it. Advantage being the Ruger's kind of made for dry firing, whereas the Marlin is not. In terms of the trigger itself, Again, like I told you that this review wouldn't be fair, and that's because this Ruger has an upgraded trigger, and it's beautiful. It is a lot better than the Marlin's. You can pull on it. It's got a little bit of a creep to it, but it's extremely light. Whereas the Marlin's is gritty and heavy and pretty long. So again, the nod on the trigger goes to the Ruger 1022, and that's because you can get upgraded trigger parts for it. In terms of, pull this back here, mounting a scope, again the Ruger gets a little bit of a nod here because they are available with these top rails here. That makes mounting a scope reliably really easy. Whereas with the Marlin, you're stuck with these dovetail, not rings, dovetails cut into the top of the receiver as well. So I just wanted to make this quick because there's honestly more in common with these two rifles than there are different. They're both semi-auto 22s. Reliability on both of them is fantastic. The accuracy on both of them is very good. The Ruger, again, will get the nod because you've got other barrel options, better trigger options, better. You can make one of these rifles without putting anything from Ruger in it. So there's a lot of different options in terms of how high end or how low end you want it. You still won't ever get to where a really good bolt action 22 will get, but you will get some really good accuracy out of a semi 22, and for a lot of people that's good enough. So again, really quick review. I would say that the Marlin would get the nod if you're not looking to upgrade anything and you just want an inexpensive 22 semi that gets pretty good accuracy and is pretty light. The Ruger gets the nod if you want to upgrade or add anything on afterwards.